Day 200. Never know when this is going to go live. So let's just wait for the spinny thing to kick in. Whew, day 200. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you may know a little bit about my story. Maybe not. Phone tells me I'm going live, so I'm going live. So I'm live. So let's just pull this screen down and talk about how you get to them bigger numbers. And what's the secret behind it? Like, here's the thing, guys. If you're playing small and you're playing too much in the organic game and you're playing hoping that something you're doing for free is going to something lift off and make you a lot of money, or turn into this big company, the reality is it's not. Like, the reality is you're going to have to invest some money in there. So how the heck did I get to this point? So let me tell you a story about this for you guys that are sort of new to this journey of mine. Yes, I had a manufacturing business for probably about 7 years, and about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I sold it. And it turned into a monster. And this started from bootstrapping. So technically I bootstrapped. So what's bootstrapping? Bootstrapping is taking very little money, making some more money from it, putting that money back in and growing it again and again and again. So I didn't take any venture capital. I don't believe in that. I believe, like a lot of you guys, you can create this stuff yourself. But if you're early on in business and you pull too much money out, so it's like, I need this business to make X and I need that money now, then it's going to be very hard because you're pulling out too much cash flow at the very beginning. So you have to get these things. What I did is I bootstrapped. So what I mean by bootstrapped, I literally had a safety net. So what I did was I was working a full-time job and I had an idea. So I found a gap in the market. And again, I can't see the comments. So someone's commented and I literally saw a gap in the market. And I'm going to punch this in to see if I can actually see these comments because Facebook seems to screw me around. I can see Kelly's on here. But yeah, literally what I did is I saw a gap in the market and I went after it. So what gap did I see? I saw manufacturers that were producing a product, didn't have an online store and weren't running ads. So that was my gap in the market. So what did I do? I started an online shop. But before that, I created a product. $100 in my pocket, went down, found some bits and pieces we needed to do, and we made this blanket. Me and my wife did. And the first one was disaster. So first lesson is, you fail. You're going to fail multiple times. And that first one was a disaster. Absolutely rubbish product. I was like, man, might as well give up at this stage here. But I didn't because something was eating me. I was like, I reckon I can get this to work. Did it again, and it looked a bit average. And I was like, what's the gap in the market? What is the gap? So I looked at it again. And I entered it pretty much, my entry was finding a product that, people weren't too sure about this. Did it work? Did it work? Did not work? And I created an entry level product. And that's what I did. And from there, I then had a Google Ads voucher. $100 voucher, I think it was. You had to spend like $25 and you got 100. It may have even been more in them days. Actually, I think it was still 100. They were pretty stingy, but I think it was like you had to spend $10. And here's the funny thing, I didn't even use the voucher because I remember finding in this group, me asking for a question, does anyone have a voucher? And here's one of the things, you don't wait when you're a business owner. Like if you're sitting there and you've got this idea in your head, you can't sit there and wait for these freebies to come along. So I was like, I know Google Ads is going to work for me. I just literally started running them. And I ran them on the keyword because no one else was running Google Ads. Like that's how I got it started. And then what did I do? As I saw that, I then, what did I do? I took that money. Because at that stage there I was like, cool, I've turned my $100 now into probably $500. So I then took my $100 out again and I ran some more ads. And that's how you sort of grow again. So I was like, you don't want to be that sort of person that's like if you're taking it out, it's like your life savings and taking a really risk. It's cool with the bootstrapping methods because what you're doing is you're taking some cash that you're doing either your time, you make some cash and then from them ads, you then leverage out that thing again. But if you're sitting there going, I need to pay myself serious lot of money at that early stage, it ain't going to work because you pull too much money out and you got nothing to put in. So a lot of business owners I see, they make that mistake where they're like, hey, I need to run ads and that, but I need to also pull out so much money, and they siphon it off, so it doesn't really work. But here's the thing, you'll need to take risks. You'll need to take risks and punts because not every punt will work. Some will work, some won't. But what you're doing is you're snowballing the investment that you put in. And it could be ads, it could be other stuff. But for me, it was always ads, always marketing. So it was like, okay, I'll put it in. And then next month, I'll put a little bit more in. And then the other month. And then here's the thing, you're going to have to pretty much keep scaling this because I was talking about $100. Now, how the heck did I get to this 7-figure business? At the end, I wasn't spending $100 a month. I was spending close to, some months, close to, it's going to scare you guys, but it's cheap to some other marketers, 10 grand a month on ads. Now, you may go, well, that's just silly, Mark. Here's the thing. How are you going to get to that big amount if you're not investing in to get to that big amount? Like, free ain't going to carry the whole way. Like, they're going to carry you some of the way. So like if you're a hobbyist and you're starting up and you want to get things rolling, free will work to a point, and then you'll run out. The free won't work anymore. It'll have stretched its boundaries, like Facebook, and that will give you a bit of love and it will excite you about this world. But then you're going to ignite it with the rest of the money, and that's like paid. And it might be that, as I said, you run maybe some Google ads. Maybe you then run out, you tap that market out. Like I tapped that market out at some stage on certain search terms, and then I looked at social media. So then I bring on social media and I keep going that out. But all these times you're taking punts. Like that's the thing, you guys are entrepreneurs and stuff like that follow me. You have to take these leaps of faith. We need to put some money in, and it may not work. Like sometimes I put them in. I can remember spending $1,000 on ads and not getting a sale. I'm thinking, oh Jesus Christ, man, what am I doing? But you don't give up. Like you keep going. Like that's the thing. Like, and you look at the data, and I've said this before. What is the data that I keep talking about? If you run an ad and it fails, and the good thing is like you're gonna know whether it fails because you don't get any sales. Like that's the reality. You don't look at the clicks. You don't look at that. I've got no sales. That is your data. It's just like that sucked. Don't do that again. So you try again. You make a different ad. Like that's the reality in this world you live. But the thing is, to get to them bigger numbers, you're gonna have to invest something. You're gonna have to give something. Like that's where you're gonna have to go. So you can't ride the free train forever. And the free train, when you think about it, and it's a great strategy. Like I tell a lot of people when they're starting off, share your posts into groups. And then what I do when they get busy, they go, look, I don't have time for that anymore. Time to turn the ads on. Get the ads rolling. Like get that. It's just like, I like to bootstrap. So it's like, you got hardly any cash. You're going to leverage your time, and you're going to use your time to get your message out there. As you get bigger, just like in anything else in life, like a business owner, you want to grow your company, you are not going to produce these products. You can't go out there and service all these places. So what are you going to do? Same philosophy happens here. You're going to go get more workers, because the only way you can expand out is you have to put more workers on to expand your output to get to these figures. So you can't always play it safe. And it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing coaching, it's probably a different story. But if you're doing service-based, the only way to amplify that out is you're going to have to build out your team. Your team is then going to have to be paid, which means you're going to have to bring in more work. And if you're sitting there trying to share and trying to do all this stuff, running around trying to do all the free stuff, you're not going to be able to do it. Like you're going to burn out. And that's where you bring the ads on. And that's what I did. Like literally, I just brought the ads on, and I didn't like blow it up. Like seriously, I took risks that were not insane risks. So it was like, cool. What is the worst case scenario? I return my money. Like I get back to where I was. So maybe I run ads and I spend $1,000 and I get $1,000 in sale. I've technically broke even at this stage here, like minus the cost and everything else. At that stage there, I then go again, and you're going to have to lean in this. And I said, certain variables are going to happen. And that's the only way you're going to be able to scale like in your business. You're going to have to take these risks, and you're going to have to invest in something. Staff, ads, marketing people, salespeople, whatever the heck it is. Like that's the only way you're going to get bigger. You can't do this on your own. Like you have to either, as I said, run ads. That's what I did. So what was the journey for me? The expansion to get to that was literally run ads, get busy enough that literally that room to the left was where we started our business. It was a theater room. It's not a big theater room, but it was the size of this office here. So in that, I had a cutting table just a little bit bigger than that, and we'd cut these blankets, and there we had one sewing machine. And from there, I then fitted 3 sewing machines in. Then there's only me and my wife, so I quit my job. Then we put a worker on, so we continue on. And then what was the next step? Next step was run more ads to get more work. We can't fit anything in more of the house. I need to now go get, what's the next step? Premises. So sublease. Sublease is a cool way to do it. You take a jump, you sublease somewhere. Again, you don't have to commit for like 3 or 5 years. You take a year lease, share the rent with someone, and then you put more staff in. Now here's the thing. Eventually you'll fill that place up, which is what we did. And there was no more room. There was no more room to put equipment in, no more room to put people in. Then we took the next step and we leased a big factory. But you don't do explosive growth. You don't do this ridiculous thing where you're like, I need 100 times my business. You take formulated risks, like how much risk, like how many, and it's going to be scary. Now, here's the thing on the journey. Every time I took them steps, the funniest thing is it looked like a massive step. It was like, oh my God, I'm taking on a lease. Oh my God, I've now got 10 staff. Oh my God. Here's the thing, when you get to that next level, you normalize it. So when I moved out of here, it was like, man, I'm going to take a sublease on this. Is getting crazy now. Like, literally I've got like 5 or 6 staff at that stage. Once you get there and you've done it, it's now normal. It just seems normal to you. Then when you get to year 10, you take a bigger place on, that would seem like a walk in the park. And then the next step, you have to grow up and up and up and up, depending on where you're going to go. Now, the reality is, I know a lot of people say 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever it is. Figure out what works for you, because revenue is great, but that is not profit. So it's very easy to make a 7-figure business, but also not have much profit in it as well. So when people talk about 7 figures, and that's why I don't like using the number, but I put it in here because it's a good headline grab. A lot of people get caught up in that, and they're like, man, 7 figures, you're a millionaire. That's the reality. It's revenue. So you have to be profitable, guys. Like, that's the big takeaway from this. You don't want to be not profitable, have a big team, because all you do is you create this massive monster that needs feeding. And that's where you need people like me to bring in the marketing for you to feed the people that are in there, and you end up with this headache, and it's a bit of a nightmare. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. So that's how you get to it. You take risks, and you have to invest. And you have to invest in something. Ads, you can't keep doing this on your own. As I said, use free to get you to the next stage, and then get to the next stage, get to the next stage. Paid. Choose your poison, as I say it. I don't get bound too much into these things about Facebook, Google this, Bing this, but whatever moves the needle, whatever gets you sales, if you get sales and it's profitable, do more of it, and you keep finding it. Eventually you'll tap out these things and you'll find smarter ways of doing it. You'll come back to something that you thought was tapped out and there was nothing left there, and you'll go again. And that's the takeaway on day 200 of this journey. Don't know where I was going today. That's how you get there. As I said, you're going to have to take some risks. And here's the thing, as you get further in business, it's very hard to get out of business. So figure out what your exit plan is too, because it's not a fast route to get to these numbers either. To get to their numbers, that took a good 5-6 years. That's it. You get older as you do this, man. You get seriously older every time you do this round, guys. So just be aware. If someone's sitting there going, you're going to be able to get to 7 figures in a month, 6 months, a year, it's not going to happen, guys. Like, you got to be in there for the long term. So take calculated risks, invest in yourself, invest in ads, invest in marketing, invest in staff if you have to, and work smart on your staff. On that note, I am going to wrap up for today because it's 4 o'clock and I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.